kind of get us started with our introductions. I'm Takesha Red. I am the staff member assigned to support the Citizens Police Review Board. And tonight we have a situation where neither our chair or co-chair, vice chair, were able to attend. So the first order of business will be the body electing a temporary chair for tonight's meeting. So I will call the meeting to order at 6:03. And as I said, before we get to roll call and approval of minutes and all of those other things, the first order of business is soliciting someone who would like to serve as acting chair for tonight's meeting. Don't all speak at once.
Can we make a nomination for Miss Corbett, who's been so good at it in the past?
Oh, that's wonderful. That's because I have tenure, right?
Second.
That's
And
right.
because I love doing it.
That's right.
Well,
All
I
in
mean,
favor?
it's a brief meeting. We don't have a lot on tonight's agenda. So if you were to have to act as chair for a meeting, this would be a good one to have to act as chair.
I'm willing to do it.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
I'm
All
looking
right.
for the competition.
Thank you, Pamela.
Okay, so the
Okay.
meeting is called to order. And let me find the agenda, probably the minutes. That's not it. This is it. So we have to do a roll call.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Pamela Corbett,
I'm here.
Emma James, Brittany Spees, Kathy McLean, Michael Fraden,
I'm present.
Karen Bartoletti,
Present.
Annika Annette,
Here.
Warren Napper, Tambila Covington,
Here.
Eusebio Velez.
Present.
Thank you.
And we do have a quorum, did you say?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
And do we have any new people? I should know that, but I don't.
All veterans tonight.
Hmm?
That's all veterans tonight.
Ah, okay. So in terms of introductions, are there any other introductions we need to make?
No, we can just proceed with the approval of the summary of minutes.
Ah. So has everybody had a chance to read last meeting's minutes? Any, well, first of all, do I hear a motion to approve them?
I motion.
Okay. Any questions, additions, or changes?
I have a question, but it's not about the minutes per se. So I think I can hold it, but it's about the what the police chief said since I was absent. If somebody would give me a 2-sentence breakdown at some point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, we can do that under new business.
Okay. So there being no changes, do I hear a motion to approve? I did hear a motion to approve. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any- Do we have to do a roll call for that, or can we just
I
speak
think we
up?
can do it by unanimous consent.
Okay, anybody opposed? Okay, unanimous. All right. Then we are on to the, well, I did introductions already, and there weren't any. How about the reports? Who is doing the reports? The quarterly reports?
Captain Pritchard.
Good evening. How are you guys doing?
Well, thank you.
So I think all of you guys got a copy of the reports. So for Q2, we received, if you're looking at the departmental ones at the top, we received 7 complaints. For Q3, we received 1. Currently in Q2, 10 of those were closed sustained. One of those is still remaining open. And for Q3, one of those was sustained.
And just to interrupt you for a moment, you're talking departmental, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then if we switch to the second document, which would be the one at the top that says citizen, for the second quarter, we had 8. For the third quarter, we had 3. Currently, Q2, 6 were unfounded, 10 are still open. And I'm sorry, it was quarter two. If I said quarter three, I'm sorry. Quarter three is 9 are still open. And just to let you guys know, sometimes the numbers are off because the numbers that are open is based off the violation number, not the actual number of complaints. So sometimes they don't match. Any questions?
Now, a lot of folks are new in this group. And I know in my first couple of meetings, I was not following it really closely. So is anybody having any challenges with following what's being described here? This is an opportunity to get some clarification if that's true.
I guess I just have a question sometime. Do we ever get a little bit more detail on particularly the sustained ones, what the incident actually was? This is kind of an odd way to look at things. I realize there's privacy and HR issues and the like, and I'm not asking about the person, but this is a pretty sanitized report as far as all we get is sort of overall numbers. And at some point, it may be interesting for us to know a little bit more about what kind of allegations are made. And again, it doesn't have to be today, but I think we'd be a little bit better informed if at some point we had that contact.
Crystal, what are your thoughts about that?
So I can tell you, if you look on those forms, either one of them, there's a section that's grayed out and it lists out the rules of conduct that it's related to, that those violations are related to, whether they are exonerated, sustained, not sustained, unfounded, withdrawn, and open. And it gives you a list. That is not every potential rule of conduct there is. It only lists the ones that there's currently a violation associated with. So for instance, on the departmental one, it shows the conduct unbecoming, courtesy, departmental directives, dissemination of information, insubordination, conformance to laws, performance unsatisfactory, and then on page 2, vehicle operations and use of weapons. And if you go out beside those, it gives you the totals for the quarter, and then it also totals the numbers with regard to sustainments or exonerations and the unfounded. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. For the to me, I would just like, okay, the sustained laws conformance to, what did this do? Sorry,
You're breaking up a little bit. I don't know if, at least on my
so
screen.
I apologize.
Was she breaking up?
So I guess I'm just
Go ahead.
sorry. I don't know what's happening. Okay, I'll type in a question later. Can you hear me that I would just sometime like a more of a rundown of the ones that are either sustained or particularly the ones that are sustained, what's the nature of the, for lack of a better word, transgressions. And these categories are maybe mean a lot to you. I don't know that they mean very much to me. I can guess what insubordination is, but some of these other things I would love at some point in the next level down of, did they hit somebody? Did they just to give me what's happening?
And you might even add to that, or I might even add to that, knowing what the outcome is. So if these are sustained, what happens with the person at this point going forward? And in addition, is it an increase from before? Can we see any trends? Is there a decrease from before? These are not very big numbers. And if you think in terms of an entire police force, it may represent a very well-behaved group for sure. But we have no way of knowing that because there's nothing to compare it with. But I think I have even more interest in what happens next. So for insubordination, how is that handled? How does that get corrected in a way that's productive? That sort of thing. I'm not sure if you can give us that information, but that might be worth considering.
Okay, well, what we can do, I don't know if you remember, Pam, we had, I think it was Assistant Chief Weaver, who came and kind of went over the general code of conduct and what sorts of infractions fall under which categories. And since we have new members on the board now, it may be helpful, if I'm hearing you correctly, to kind of have that presentation again so that the new members get the benefit of understanding how the code of conduct works and how the complaint discipline process works.
That is helpful. I remember that, and it was helpful. It doesn't address what happens next, nor does it show trends getting better, getting worse, that sort of thing. And again, I don't know if that data is collectible, or if it's even useful. I certainly don't want to make work.
Well, we can certainly take a look at that. I can get with Captain Pritchard and our HR staff and find out if there's any more information that can be included in the reports. I understand these reports are pulled from a system, so it kind of spits out the raw numbers, and it's not like a report that's created, but I can certainly follow up and have an update at our next meeting.
Thank you. I would appreciate that too, because again, I think to serve our role, we if we were a little bit better informed, one or two levels deeper. Again, we don't need names, we don't need, but I agree with Pamela. If there was a sustained, and I can't flip through this fast enough, whatever it was, law conforms to, what happens to that person now? Is it an HR sticker in their file? Is it? I just think, God forbid, but should something more serious come up in the future, I think that'll make us better informed.
Mhm.
As I said, Captain Pritchard and I will get together and have an update for you at our next meeting.
I will tell you, the good news is that in the however many years that I've been doing this, I think we've had two hearings, and none were from the police themselves. So that's the good news.
That's the good news.
Yeah,
I just wanted to add in conversation, so I agree with everything that's already been said, so I will not add to that. But of course, my curiosity is around what is still open in the timeline of closing those said infractions. So a lot more information, or at least some guidance as to how to categorize and better understand this report would be greatly helpful.
Okay. Now, we don't have to take any action on these reports, do we?
No, for information.
Got it. Okay. New business. So let's start with Karen. You had a question that you want when I think Captain Penn? What is his title?
Chief Penn?
Chief Penn, thank you.
Yeah, if somebody, I apologize if this is old hat to everybody else, but just literally like a 2-minute highlight. I didn't see in the minutes, other than he reported, did he identify key strategies or things he was focused on? I think that one of the big things was youth, and then he was what were the initiatives to engage the youth, and then he answered questions regarding violent crime. And if anyone could give me 2 sentences on either one, I'd value that. Thank you.
Does anybody remember?
I think we talked a little bit about the gangs and the increase in homicides. I think we touched on that. And if we didn't, we probably would today. But I don't recall any of the specifics.
Were the homicides gang related? Was that the indication?
I'm sorry, I didn't follow the question.
Were the increase in homicides attributed to gang activity?
Certainly the increase in crime was, and that there is as I understand it, and Crystal, you can speak to this way better than I think there is an increase in gang activity. I don't know if the increase in homicides is related to that. Can you say something about that?
I don't remember the specifics of what Chief Penn talked about that. I don't have those stats in front of me. That's not something that I do on a daily basis. I do know he discussed the missions and values that he set for the police department, what he expects of our officers, and collaborating with the community and how they could help. I don't remember anything else other than that. Sorry.
Okay, so
That's okay. I don't know if we can get that attached to the minutes if he does have a statement on that. And just a list of any other initiatives, specific initiatives that the police department has to engage you per the language here. I just love them to be attached to today's minutes.
They did mention something about the police foundation having a little
T-
league,
it's a T-ball.
Yes, T-ball.
T-ball league, which I thought was quite nice and a great way to connect with the community. And he was also talking about soliciting participation from members of the community, if and when possible, kind of sharing their video cameras, like through Ring, for some houses that have that feature, to see who's in the front. So those were some of the things that I recall were notable. And then as a new chief, he was wanting to kind of get to hear everyone's voice in different departments and different boroughs within the community as well.
Thank you. That's really helpful. I appreciate that.
You're in charge.
No, I don't want it.
Now we know who the go-to person is to get the detail. Be careful. All right. So we need a nominating committee? I guess so, because we're in October and beginning in January, there has to be a new set of officers.
That is correct. It is that time of year where we solicit 3 members of the board to serve as the nominating committee to meet with and identify a slate of candidates for our chair and vice chair positions to be voted on at our January meeting.
And my tenure is temporary, but undetermined. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to be, so I would not be a good choice.
I am happy to help, but it looks like if looking at this, I roll off, but I'm happy to help on the nominating committee.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Do I hear 2 more volunteers? Well, I guess I could nominate Michael.
He nominated you. I think it's only fair.
Hey, okay. Unless he objects, unless he comes on camera and objects. He's been volunteered. All we need now is a 3rd. Somebody who's not here, that'll teach him.
Well, in her email to me today, informing me that she wouldn't be able to attend the meeting tonight, Brittany did say if there was an absence or a gap and no one else wanted to do it, she would serve on the nominating committee again. But she wanted to give everyone an opportunity first before putting her name in the hat.
And is that to be on the nominating committee or to be nominated?
To be on the nominating committee. Yeah. Now, these are just 3 people who meet, divide up the list, reach out to each member individually, solicit whether they be willing to serve in that capacity or not, or what capacity they would be willing to serve in, and then presenting the report at the January meeting where the candidates would then be voted on.
So Brittany and Karen are willing, and Michael hasn't objected. So I think.
I know Michael served on it.
Objection.
Sounds like a committee. Sounds like a committee.
Yeah, it does. Are you in, Michael?
No.
What was
I
that?
object. I object all day long. I was trying not to do it here, so.
Well, it's only a nominating committee. You sure you don't want to participate?
I've done it before. I'm not sure how helpful I was last time.
Okay.
Well, I guess that leaves.
I guess I'll volunteer myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pam.
You are welcome. Okay, so we have a nominating committee.
Well, I guess we have to vote, but that seems like it's pro forma, but since we have our 3 candidates, we'll put it to a vote for we'll need a motion to accept the 3 candidates and then an official vote.
For a nominating committee, you
Feel
have
free to vote against me if you
Okay, do I hear a motion
want.
to approve the nominating committee That includes Karen, Anika.
Karen is frozen.
Oh, Karen did freeze.
So she
She's
can't
frozen.
attend either. Brittany.
I can't vote on it because I'd be voting on myself, so I'm.
So all in favor of that nominating committee, raise your hand.
Raise your hands. 1, 2,
My
3.
video's not working, but I'm in favor.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, any opposition? Anybody opposing? Raise your hand. I see no hands. I hear no voices. We've got a nominating committee.
Amen.
Then I'll reach out to the 3 nominating committee members so we can kind of divvy up the roster and set a timeline for when we want to assemble to discuss the responses from the body and get our candidate slate ready for our January meeting. And I will probably try to do that in the month of November, because I know by the time December gets here, people are in full holiday mode. So I'll try to do that sooner rather than later. So you can dispense with it and then get on with your holiday celebrations.
Thank you. And Karen, thank you for your
Thank-
questions about more detail on the quarterly reports. I think for any of us to feel like we're adding value, we need to feel informed. So we know what it is that how we're contributing, I guess.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I know for me to feel like I'm serving a role, I just need to know more than these 8 numbers.
Right.
Keisha, I have just one question. Of the 10 people on this review board membership, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of us rolling off or already have rolled off. So technically, there's only 6 who are eligible for officer status. Are those dates going to be changed? Are people going to be invited to serve longer? Do they go away? If I'm on the nominating committee, you can tell me the answer to that on the phone, but there's only 6 eligible to be officers next year.
So the way it works is depending on if it's your first term, you can serve a second term. But if it's your second term and you would be rolling off, then you serve until your replacement is appointed by city council. So it may have where your term ends in April, but you serve until July because the appointment was made in the month of July, but not before the body met.
And for those who are in their first term, does somebody say, yes, we would like you to stay, or please go away very quickly, we don't want you anymore, or however that's decided?
Usually that's handled by the mayor's office. Most people, I've not had a situation where someone didn't take their second term since I've been assigned to the board. So typically someone from the mayor's office reaches out. If you're still interested in serving, they'll reappoint you. If you're not, then they would then have to find another candidate to take your spot on the board. But then, as I said, you would serve until the new person is appointed.
And I'm an example of that.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying. Sorry for bogging down the meeting.
Okay. So this is October, so we won't be meeting again until January. And do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I actually have something that I want to say before we roll off of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate it. I'm going to continue to say this. Doesn't matter if people act like they don't see me, they don't hear me, because it's not just me saying it. There's hundreds, thousands of people advocating for Senate Bill 704, especially out of the Charlotte, Mecklenburg area, Durham, as it calls for more transparency for the Police Review Board. Unless we advocate for this, and I'm not saying this as a police review board, I'm talking about individually or organizationally. It's imperative that we know this. We're informed about this process only because this is not just for citizens. This is also transparency for the internal side as well, for these for the internal complaints as well. So it's just not for the citizens.
Mhm.
And I think it's very important that people become more informed about this, because this is, Winston happens to be like this little small bubble of a perpetuated cycle, and it needs to be more of an oversight committee. That's what the Senate Bill 704 is pushing for, more transparency on the police review board. Now, there were two bills that were 2015, 2017, they both died. And now this one has been reintroduced back in April. So whether or not this is done now or later, I'm going to continue to advocate for outside of the police review board while I'm on the police review board. So I'm just putting that out there in case anybody is interested and wants to know more about it.
I
I
do.
wasn't aware of that. I'll go read about it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Of course. Thank y'all.
Any,
And I guess I will motion to adjourn, I guess.
are you making a motion?
You're making
Yes.
Do I hear a second?
So moved.
All right. Do I hear any objections? Okay, we're done. We're finished.
Thanks, Pamela.
Oh, yeah, you bet.
Have a great rest of the evening.
Have a great holiday, everyone, if I don't see you before.
Yes, we will
Have a
see you
great
next
Same.
year.